Late one morning at the Hawthorne Grill restaurant on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, a young couple, Honey Bunny and Pumpkin, discuss the pros and cons of bank robbery and liquor store. They then add restaurants to the equation and realize they can make more than they can with their customers' wallets pulled from the cash register. Announces that it is robbing. Earlier in the day, Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega arrive at their San Fernando Valley apartment. They are assassins in the service of Marcellus Wallace, who have come to rob Wallace of his prized possessions from a group of con artists led by a young and naive man named Brett. You get something precious back, keep it in your briefcase, and it will glow warmly and captivate all viewers. Jules quotes what he believes to be a Bible verse in Ezekiel 25 increase 17 before he and Vincent execute Brett. Story number 1, Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife. At his strip club, Marcellus Wallace pays boxer Butch Coolidge for his next fight. Jules and Vincent arrive. It's only hours after visiting the valley, but the two killers are wearing gym clothes instead of the suits they wore earlier in the day. While Jules went to the men's bathroom, Vincent went to the bar. Bump into Butch. At this time, men do not like each other. Vincent insults Butch, but before Butch can retaliate, Marcellus calls Vincent to hug him. Marcellus leaves town that night and Vincent is supposed to take Marcellus' wife Mia out to dinner to entertain her. Vincent is nervous because rumors abound that Marcellus seriously injured another companion, Antoine, whom he believed was inappropriately kind to Mia. Visits drug dealer Lance to buy high-quality heroin. Properly sedated, he takes Mia, a cocaine-addicted and chain smoker, to his 1950s-style West Hollywood restaurant, Jack Rabbit Slim's. After a little talk about her trip to Europe, Mia's acting failures, massaging her feet, and rumors about Antoine, Mia enters a dance contest with herself and Vincent. They dance twists and win trophies. After dinner, they return to Wallace's house. Vincent goes to the bathroom and he tells himself not to hit Mia. Meanwhile, she discovers a bag of heroin in her coat pocket and, assuming it is cocaine, snorts some of it through her nose. She soon faints and out of her mouth start blowing bubbles. A panicked Vincent takes a dying Mia to Lance, where they debate what to do with her. With Lance's advice, Vincent is able to release adrenaline into her heart to resuscitate her. Vincent takes Mia home. They agree not to tell Marcellus what happened as it will get them both in trouble. Story number 2, The Gold Watch. The next night, before the battle, Butch dreams of an event from his childhood. Back at his home in Tennessee in 1973, Captain Coons visits Butch with a gold watch. This watch belonged to Butch's great-grandfather and was taken out in World War I. Butch's grandfather took it to World War II, and Butch's father to Vietnam. Butch's father died as a prisoner of war, but he gave his watch to Coons to return to Butch. Coons says he and Butch's father had to hide the clock in their rectum to keep it away from their captors. Butch reaches out and takes the watch from Coons. Butch wakes up from a dream. Instead of throwing matches, he fights very ferociously and kills his opponents. He took the money from Marcellus and bet it on himself. His profit is a meager fortune. Butch chats with Esmeralda, the driver of the taxi he's in. She seems fascinated by the theme of death. Esmeralda drives Butch to a seedy motel where he and his French girlfriend, Fabienne, stay after leaving the apartment. In the morning, they travel to Butch's hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee, to collect the prize money and leave the country. However, when packing the next morning, Fabienne reveals that she forgot her gold watch. After a massive explosion that destroys the television in the motel room, Butch takes Fabienne's car to get the watch, parks it a few blocks away, and, as a precaution, drives through an empty lot to his apartment building. He entered without incident and found a clock in his bedroom. He realizes he is not alone in the apartment when he notices that there is a submachine gun in the kitchen. Butch catches a caught Vincent coming out of the bathroom and kills him with a gun he finds. He wiped his gun with a tissue and removed his fingerprints before leaving the apartment. Butch leaves the apartment with his watch and encounters Marcellus crossing the street. He tried to run over Marcellus with his car, but he was only injured and hit another car. Both are wounded and Marcellus chases Butch to the pawn shop. There, he is overwhelmed by the owner, Maynard. Marcellus and Butch wake up bound and gagged in the basement of a pawn shop. Maynard calls his cousin Zed, who works as a security guard. Maynard and Zed appear to be serial killers who kill passers-by who come to the store. Gimp, a giant boy in head-to-toe black leather fetish gear, sees Butch, Maynard, and Zed take Marcellus into the next room and start raping him. Butch manages to break the rope in the chair holding him, knocking Gimp out. Butch is about to leave the pawnbroker and Marcellus to their fate. Confused, he obtains a samurai sword and saves Marcellus. In the process, Maynard is killed and Zed is castrated by a shotgun fired by Marcellus. Marcellus stays behind to oversee the execution of Zed's torture, but never mentions what happened. Butch betrayed him. Boxing ring. Butch agrees. In the final scene, Butch and Fabian leave town riding Zed's chopper, his motorcycle, Grace. Story number 3, the Bonnie situation. 3 days ago, shortly after Vincent and Jules killed Brett for stealing Marcellus' valuable possessions, a gang member they didn't know burst out of the bathroom and Jules and Vincent entered and opened a large gun. It looked like it was posing like it was shot. Pistol at close range. However, all the bullets miss Vincent and Jules and hit the back wall, so they return fire and kill the gang members. Jules is convinced it was divine intervention, but Vincent dismisses the idea. In the car, Jules continues to insist that what happened in the apartment was a miracle, and that he is retiring from Marcellus' gang. Leaning into the front seat, Vincent asks Marvin if he believes in miracles, but accidentally shoots him dead in the head. The inside of the car is covered with blood and brain matter. Furious at Vincent's clumsiness, Jules drives to the house of his only friend and former colleague Jimmy in the valley. Jimmy allowed them to hide the car in the garage, but he was annoyed that she had to remove her body an hour before her wife Bonnie came home from her night shift at the hospital. Jules calls Marcellus to his home and explains their plight. Marcellus then calls Winston Wolfe, a polite and professional cleaner who solves the problem. The Wolf arrives at Jimmy's house and tells Vincent and Jules how to clean the car. And themselves, they need to take off their business suits, let down the hose, and put on Jimmy's spare t-shirt and shorts. There is their problem explained. Strip club clothes and helps my daughter dispose of cars and bodies at a junkyard owned by an unremarkable friend named Monster Joe, Mr. Wolf's girlfriend. Increase. With all matters resolved, Jules and Vincent decide to have breakfast at the Hawthorne Grill and continue their discussion of miracles. Jules reveals his plans to leave his own life of crime behind and travel the world as a beggar to help those afflicted by tyranny. Vincent, upset that his friend and partner lost his life, taunts him before going to the bathroom. Just then, Honey with his bunny and Pumpkin begins a diner robbery. Angered, they collect cash from the cash register and the guest's wallet. Jules gives Pumpkin his wallet, but when Pumpkin tries to rob Marcel's briefcase, Jules pulls out a gun and disarms Pumpkin. As Vincent holds back Honey Bunny, Jules Pumpkin explains that he would have thoughtlessly killed Pumpkin and Honey Bunny that morning. He quotes an alternate version of Ezekiel 25. Again 17. The path of the righteous is visited on all sides by the lawlessness of the selfish and the tyranny of the wicked. Blessed are those who, in the name of mercy and goodwill, guide the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is indeed the protector of his brothers and the finder of lost children, poisoning and destroying my brothers. And when I take vengeance on you, you will know my name is the Lord. Jules thought it would be cool for his victims to hear such a ruthless passage for the last time. But now he realizes that the bad guy tyranny part of the passage refers to him, and he explains that he intends to do so in order to become a better person. He and Vincent allow Honey Bunny and Pumpkin to walk away with all the money, but not the briefcase. They leave the diner themselves and go to the Marcellus strip club.